Hopefully you didn't wake up to snow on the ground like we did here in mid-Michigan, middle of April, and we've still got snow. Welcome to Michigan, eh? Here's the thing that we wanted to talk about this morning. Some things going on in the industry that I think that we need to talk about, and some things coming down the pipe, if you will, that I think could affect the 2020 deer season. That if you look back on some of my videos from last fall and early spring, I had a very high outlook for what the 2020 season had to offer. I've said it before, it was going to be the year of the deer, and I thought that because not only of the trail camera pictures and deer that got passed last year, the deer that made it through, but also as land stewards ourselves and habitat improvers, and everybody coming together and putting a foot forward, and reaching out to the guys that maybe weren't on board with the habitat improvement, weren't on board with trigger management, and some guys that had reached out to me that I never thought would go to that level. So all that ties into why the 2020 season was going to be as strong as it was. Here's what I fear. Last week, I if you follow along, you see one of those poster videos. I had a conversation with the Attorney General and the Attorney General's office, and one of the questions that I asked her, the young lady that works in the office there, one of the things I asked her was, there's a lot of these companies offering what we have offer that we do, what I do around the country, not only here in state, as far as whitetail habitat improvements and setting up properties designs. There's a lot of guys that I feel that we are a little bit different from what a lot of guys have to offer, but same theory. There are guys that are coming from Wisconsin into the state doing work when we are on lockdown. Now, I can't go to Wisconsin and do work. I can't go to Illinois, and I can't I can't even travel in state too far here, or I can't travel at all in state to do work. So I'm postponing a lot of this. So a lot of it is, the question was, how does that work? And her answer was, we can't stop people from coming out of state into Michigan to do what you offer. We're worried about our people in state, and I don't see that way on a couple different things. One, I don't see it that way as far as a business outlook. That's totally bogus, if you will, to the people in the state of Michigan. Two, going back on that, it's absolutely ridiculous in my eyes that guys would even do that to people here in the state of Michigan. But the focus is, and it all goes down to a couple things. So the next question was, before we get kind of wrap this up into one, the next question was this was during the time that the governor put this no garden seed thing into effect, and you can't plant gardens, can't do this, can't do that. So I asked her, I said, how does food plots in my business, I plant food plots for folks. I don't plant a lot of food plots because I do more of the design, and but I that's part of the business that we will do. I don't advertise just for food plots, like you guys know, but that's part of the business. And that's obviously after I get done designing these properties, the clients are planning them, or like I said, we're doing it for them. And the question was, how do you treat these food plots, because we're not ag and seed is seed. And so her answer was very clear. Food plots are pretty much, they're looking at it as a garden. It's not agricultural in their eyes. And so I encourage you to do a couple things. One is to, if there is, this is what I'm seeing happening, and this is not a video to say poor us, poor me, poor whitetail driven solutions. This is a video to open your eyes about what's going on and how this is affecting what's coming at you for the 2020 season. So first and foremost, the guys that are coming in out of state and doing this work are doing it in mass volumes. And what I'm seeing is, and the sad part of it is they're not afraid to post it on social media, that they're full and they're booked and they're this and they're that. The problem is, guys, if there's someone out there that is doing 2, 3, 4 property in my business, I call it the property analysis package. They call it a whatever the label is that they have for it. The fact of the matter is, if there's guys out there that are doing 2, 3, 4 of these a day, you're not getting what you're paying for. Plain and simple. It's a way to in their eyes is to take advantage of this situation and to go and get as much money out of it as they can, because they're not listening to the law of the shutdown. Whether you believe it or not, whether you agree with it, whether it's not, fact of the matter is it's a stay-at-home order, and by doing that, it's affecting other businesses, and it doesn't sit well with me at all. Because not only because of my business, but because of my clients that are suffering over this, potential clients, past clients, everybody that's in a panic mode right now. So with that being said, be careful on what you're doing, be careful who you're reaching out to, and if they're one of a one-stop shop and they do food plot services and mulching and consulting all in one, you're not getting your best bang for your buck, especially in this time where they're doing 3, 4, 5 of them a day, and giving you these quotes. They're not looking at your property, they're not going to the full extent, and it's going to set you up for disaster, plain and simple. So I urge you to take that in consideration. Our business, my platform is here. Anything over 40 acres is one client a day. So I spend 4, 5, 6 hours on anything over 40, and sometimes, depending on the property that's under 40 acres, I only do, I maybe do one of those a day too. If it's under 40 acres, I do no more than 2 a day, whether I'm in state or whether I'm out of state. So that's how in-depth these services that you should be paying for are. There's a couple of us in the industry across the country that are offering these services that are doing this correctly. There's a bunch of services that are out there in the country that are not. Don't get caught into that trap. So that's the first topic. Second topic was the food plots. How do you get creative? I'm not asking you, I don't know how they're handling it. I don't know how, I know that there's a lot of sporting goods stores around here that sell these, the food plot in the bag, that everybody goes with. If you have a company that you work with, that's great. That you trust, that you rely on, that has grown for you in the past, that's great. I'm not going to go down the road of which seed's better than the next. You know how we do it. Like I said, we buy in bulk, and we do it that way, not only my own plantings, but for my clients. Moral of the story is this: I don't know how they're shutting it down. I don't know how they're treating it. I don't know. In my eyes, it's kind of like the baiting ban here in Michigan. You can look at it 10 different ways. Just because it's illegal to feed the deer, was it illegal to sell it? That whole theory. But that's a different video. That's a different topic. But the fact of the matter is, the seed is going to be an issue as far as what comes with that, because a lot of folks don't own the machinery. A lot of the folks don't put their own food plots, so some of them don't put their food plots in. That's where we come in. Secondly, some of them, a lot of folks rent this machinery. Well, I don't want to see anybody get ticketed, and not only yourself, but the people that are bringing you the machinery. It all ties to it. It's a mess right now, guys. So what does that cause? This push is causing something that concerns me going into 2020, because it had so much potential, and not only because just 2020, but any time that this could happen on not just a virus, but anytime this causes panic. So the food plot side of it is, I encourage you to not panic about summer food plots, and the reason is this: one, make sure, look at your I'm a big field notes guys. You can see that from past videos. I'm a big guy on focusing on what worked last year, what didn't work last year. And if you're in that spectrum of it didn't work last year and you're getting busted on food plots, and you're watching and you're following along and you're seeing why these transition areas and this hunting off these food plots is so important, if that pertains to you and this is something that you're thinking about, really look at the summer food plot as a whole. Is the summer food plot that you're planning really needed? Is it something that you could just take a backpack, when you go to the feed mill and get annual rye or whatever, and come home and do it by hand until this is all over? Where I'm going with this is, there's a situation at hand here that we have that's causing panic, and a lot of people are out there trying to just plan it, if you will, and it didn't work last year. We are hoping that May 1st I'm back on the road, I've got some stuff to do in Wisconsin, 3 or 4 days of stuff to do in Wisconsin. I got a couple of stops through the UP that I'm going to make on the way out there. And I'm also got some stuff in southern Michigan that I've got to get done, and here locally. So we've got everybody kind of on the books and on a postponed holding pattern here. And so the seed part of it is if you can get the seed, you know, reach out to the local mills if that's where you can get it. Order it online. Don't panic about not being able to get the seed. I've had some calls, like, you know, because of that they heard the same thing, and what do you do? I think you can still get it. I don't think the local mills, and I don't know, this maybe are, maybe aren't, but I don't think they're, you know, ribboning stuff off as they are in Walmart and stuff like that. But if the case is, you know, order it online, get it in bulk, get it shipped to the house. But if you got to travel to your farms, you know, that's take that into consideration wherever you're going. If you're in state and you got to go to the, you know, the cabin to do it or whatever, this is kind of that you know, stay at home period. So take that as you will. But what it's causing, like I said, is what's causing a mass chaos trying to get, you know, figured out for the 2020 season. And so, like I said, I'm reaching out to the clients that have talked to me about this, and the ones that are watching that are concerned about this is, you know, look at what worked last year. That's where the design and having somebody come in and do an analysis package like I offer, to put boots on the ground, to find out your contour, find out how it can work, get you in these transition areas to make especially these small parcels perform the way they should. The return on investment, as I always say in these videos. Don't panic that you're not going to be able to do it, and there's only a select few areas in a lot of the countries that, you know, those places that I've been in, that really need summer food plots. And how do you determine if you need a summer food plot or not? Well, the number one thing you need to do is you need to make sure, obviously, is it in the right place? That's something you need to look at. You know, another thing that ties into that, close to that, is your deer numbers. The reason that you're planning a summer food plot is to maintain or hold the deer numbers, or to as an attractant. Now, if you're in an area where the deer numbers are good or high, like they are in a lot of places right now, then you're wasting your money on summer food plots, because you need to let those deer go out to ag and you know, have travel to them other, you know, travel a quarter mile, half a mile to those ag fields like they need to, so they're getting all the browse in between, they're getting all the ag, all the soft mass that they need, and then they're coming back in the fall onto your fall food plots. So the summer food plots is something that I think needs to be looked at, addressed a little bit closer. There's a lot of them that aren't, if we get to a point where you can't get them done because of equipment rental, if you do your own stuff, because, you know, having me come out and do that, it's not the end of the world. Let's hope this all passes before the season. But the ending here is I see a lot of and everybody has seen it on social media, that we're in this together, you know, and I think that something that's being overlooked is the hunting. You know, everybody's in a panic mode, survival mode right now, not knowing what's coming next, not agreeing with governors doing this, not agreeing with that, not agreeing with the president, whatever the case is. The problem is we have a passion that we all do in the fall. I have a passion not only on a personal side as far as hunting, but a passion that comes out, you know, through to you guys as my business that's suffering because of this. And we all need to focus on what our goal is and how we're going to get there come the 2020s, to take advantage of what this 2020 season still has to offer. Now, like I said, don't panic and think that you're going to be outside of that, not getting things done correctly, because of because of everything that we're dealt with right now. The 2020 season is still salvageable. There's all kinds of things that you can do. There's things that you can be doing with a chainsaw, habitat improvement wise, that like we always said, the focus is so focused on these food plots that the problem is here in where I'm at in mid-Michigan, right across the pond into Wisconsin, further out west you go, Minnesota, and to the east towards New York. From this line up, the daily intake of a deer, a whitetails deer daily intake is 90%, 85 to 90% of browse. And a lot of folks on these properties, it's just overlooked, and it's so powerful. So there's what I'm getting at is there's a lot of things that you can be doing, or a lot of things that you can be setting in place to compensate for your lack of a summer food plot. Spend your money where it needs to be spent. Spend your time where it needs to be spent. More than planning it into a summer food plot and watching your money get ate and dug up by the turkeys and the deer eat it to the ground and stuff like that. So don't panic. Reach out. Keep an open mind about who's doing what out there and what they're offering, and make sure that you have a goal set so you can take advantage of what's to come. I'm offering the online service. If you call, I can look and I can do as much as I can on Onyx Hunt and on design, and try to get you an idea on what I recommend without knowing the boots on the ground and connecting it to contour, which is huge. But such as last night, had a gentleman call, walked him through some of the issues that he was having. A lot of ag and a little bit of cover, and we walked through a strategy on what can make him, put him in the books this year and still have a successful season. And with that being said, I did that without an analysis package being done, boots on the ground. And if I do a full design, obviously, there's a charge that comes with that. But right now, I'm just reaching out, this can be done, that can be done, kind of get an idea in mind. And he's that situation. We have him, set up for an analysis package here as soon as this breaks in a couple of weeks, hopefully. So there's a couple of topics. The seed is the main outlook here on. If you can get it, great. If you can't, don't panic. Two, look into who's out there, what they're offering, and how that all ties into it. And I think if we all kind of pull together here, and we can salvage that 2020 season, and there's a lot of good coming in this 2020 fall. And I want to see people be successful. I don't want to see. I look at it as this. I look at it as the guys that are out there that are creating these tornado effect bedding areas. I'm just going to have to fix them, which is money to my business, but it's my biggest pet peeve in the world because you're getting taken advantage of. If you get a design from somebody, and I won't go into great detail, and I'm not here to bash a bunch of companies, but here's the meat and potatoes of the deal, and the raw truth is if you get a design from somebody that they're doing 4 or 5 a day, and they're giving you, let's use a square 40 for example, and they're just circling this area as your bedding, this area as your food, and a lot of it, that's all it is, just 3 circles on a diagram. And what's inside of that bedding area? How does it connect to food? What are you planning? How are the deer getting from the bedding area to the, all that comes to it. And as you can see, my whole goal when I leave a property is I can hand that to a customer that may only own a garden tractor, and he can implement this stuff himself if he wants to. But if I were to hand you a 40-acre diagram with 3 circles on it, the way that you're going to do bedding areas and the way I'm going to do bedding areas and the way that I promote you to do these bedding areas so you're successful to hunt these areas is 2 different things. So I encourage you to stop and think about that, because in this time of mass chaos, I don't want your 2020 season to be full of mass chaos and add to it. I want to see a break between this mass chaos that we're looking at and everybody's panicking, and I want to see a situation where we get into where it's a break in the action, and there's good ahead, and there's good ahead coming into the fall. People getting out here in the summer, being able to put their boots on the ground on their properties and have a great 2020 season. If you take the wrong advice, if you have a knee-jerk reaction just to get things done, and you don't study your field notes from the year before, and you don't have somebody come in that design these properties that knows what they're doing, and that not doing 4, 5, 6, 8 of them a day on a design, that's, you know, not only the work that they're doing, but just the design factor of it, you're going to be as stressed in the 2020 season with deer hunting as you are right now, and that's something I don't want to see. So, in closing, there's light at the end of the tunnel here. I believe that. I believe that the Lord is going to shine down. Easter was a perfect example. One of the lowest days with the epidemic, one of the lowest days of death and sickness and cases. So I hope that whether you believe that or not, I think that there's good coming down the pipe here at us, and there is ways to salvage this 2020 season. So that's your Whitetail Coach video of the week. Stay positive, guys. Reach out. Put some thought. Like I said, I'm not the only one in the industry that is doing this correctly. There's a few of us that are doing it correctly. A lot of them that are doing it incorrectly. So I don't want you to see you get taken advantage of, and you know, I want to see everybody's 2020 season as successful as it possibly can be. So, have any questions? Reach out. I'll be more than happy to chat with anybody on this topic. Look at your farms from above, see what I can do, and it's kind of a way for you to have some faith going forward, and to get your mind off from a couple other things. Maybe, you know, spend an evening with me, a couple hours or whatever, whether that's a phone call or whether that's looking at some stuff online from your property and just giving you some advice. All that's positive, and all that keeps our mind set where it needs to be. So if you have any questions, guys, feel free to reach out. Appreciate all the comments this week. Our YouTube channel had over I think it was a 1,200. I looked this morning, like 1,290 engagements this last week, and social media and all the stuff that comes with that. The messages people have been calling in, and all the great compliments, and a couple guys from Wisconsin that called in this week. Surely appreciate that. That means a lot. That really tells me that my passion of this business is shining through, and people are appreciating what I have to offer, and they are setting themselves up for a successful 2020 season as well. So thanks, guys. Be safe, stay healthy.